Miguel from Mona Vale sent me a lovely email saying, Richo, I love having poached eggs and scrambled eggs for breakfast, but is there something different you can do? Well, Miguel, I've got a great dish that you can do. It's a Spanish omelette. Now, what I've got in the pan here, I've got some potatoes that I've cut into little squares, and I've put them into the pan with some extra virgin olive oil and cooked them nice and slowly till they become nice and crispy. Now, what I'm going to do is add to that half an onion and a couple of cloves of garlic that I've chopped nice and fine. And also, to give it that Spanish flavour, I've got some chorizo sausage that I've diced up into little pieces. I've cut it all nice and fine so it actually goes all the way through the omelette. That's the trick. Toss it around a couple of times like that, or if you want, you can just stir it with your spoon so it all starts to cook down and come together beautifully. It smells fantastic. I'll add a little pinch of salt to that and a little twist of pepper. And while the onion and the garlic are cooking with the chorizo and the potatoes, what I'm going to do is crack some eggs. So I've got these free-range eggs, which is really important. Free-range eggs means happy chickens, tasty eggs, and they're all good for you. Now, I've got 6 of them going in here. Now, I usually do about 3 eggs per person when I'm making an omelette. And if you're like me, you always chuck another one in just for good measure. Now, what I'm going to do is add a little bit of salt and some pepper to the eggs and give it a twist around like that. Now, to mix up eggs, you can use a whisk if you want, but I find the best way is just to whisk it up with a fork. It breaks the eggs up nicely and mixes everything into it. Now, that's all mixed up like that. I'm going to put it aside and give this a little stir around like that. You can see it's coming together beautifully. Now, I've got some chilli here, some red and some green chilli that I'm going to slice all the way through here. This chilli isn't very hot, so it's going to give it a great flavour and a good bit of colour as well. If it was a hot chilli, I would take the seeds out of it and maybe use a whole lot less of it. In goes some olives, and I'll make sure I use olives that have been pitted, and of course some herbs. I've got some chive, some parsley and some dill, and I just run my knife through it to give it a rough chop. Into the pan it goes. Now here's the fun part, just stirring it all around like that. You can see it's coming together beautifully. Now all I need to do is add my egg straight through the top here like this and stir the egg into the mixture. Now I'm using a really good non-stick pan, so I'm sure that this won't stick at all. Stir it around like this till it just starts to set. Now all I need to do is pop this into the oven, let it bake on top till it becomes nice and golden brown, and then put it on the plate, and I'll have the best Spanish eggs in town. Have a look at that. Really nicely set. You can tell it's set by just touching it like that. The trick with eggs and cooking an omelette is to cook it just enough so it's not overcooked. If you overcook eggs, they become all watery and rubbery and not very nice at all. So what I'll do is I'll put a plate on the top like this. Be careful because you can burn yourself, and turn it over. Look at that, looks fantastic. Now all I need to do is put a little salsa on the top. I'll just spurn the salsa around. Now I make this with yellow capsicum, red capsicum, tomato. I can put a bit of chorizo and olives in there, but I'm gonna put some pepper on the top there to give it a bit of a tickle, and of course, a little drizzle of extra virgin olive oil over the top to make it nice and luscious. You can imagine coming to someone's house for brunch, putting one of these down, you're gonna impress them a lot, aren't you? Oh, look at that, cuts beautifully. You can cut a little wedge out of it. I'm just gonna take a little piece off the outside and savor the flavor of it. It looks good, smells good, lots of great flavors in there, that fresh herbs, and of course, really good eggs. If you're gonna make a good omelette, you need good eggs. That is delicious.